You come home today. You open the door and there right in front of you is your cat. Not curled up on the couch, not eating in the kitchen, just there, at the door, like it knew, and you smile. You say, "All good girl," bend down to scratch her head, step inside and carry on with your evening. But here's the question that most cat owners never stop to ask. How long had your cat been sitting there before you got home? And why out of every warm, comfortable spot in your entire house did she choose that one cold, hard patch of floor by the door? To wait for you. The answer isn't what you think. And by the time this video is over, the way you look into your cat's eyes will never quite be the same again. For centuries, humans have called cats independent, cold, selfish, unbothered, and it took behavioral science decades to prove that wrong. Because here's the truth, cats aren't cold, they just don't speak your language. And that moment, your cat sits at the door waiting for you. That is one of the most emotionally complex signals a cat can send to another living being. Today we're going to decode it layer by layer, not to surprise you, but to help you truly understand. Hash 1. Your cat isn't guessing, they're calculating. Let's start with the thing that surprises people the most. Your cat is not waiting at the door by accident. Animal behavior researchers have found that cats are capable of tracking and memorizing their owner's daily schedule, even when that schedule shifts from day to day. They use natural light, outside sounds, the way the air itself smells differently at different hours, and something scientists call social referencing, reading environmental cues to predict exactly when you will walk through that door. In other words, your cat has calculated the time you come home and positioned herself accordingly, so the next time you open the door and find her sitting right there. Remember, that's not coincidence, that is deliberate. Hash 2. That raised tail isn't just a tail. When you walk through the door and your cat moves toward you, look at her tail. If it's pointing straight up with the very tip curled slightly to the side like a tiny question mark, that is a kiss in cat language. In feral cat colonies, this behavior only ever occurs between a mother cat and her kittens. It signals absolute safety. I trust you completely. I have nothing to hide from you. When an adult cat does this to you, she's saying something very specific. In my eyes, you are family. Not an owner, not a food source. Family. And according to researchers at the University of Lincoln, that is the highest level of emotional bonding a cat can express toward another species. Hash 3. They were lonely, and they had no way to tell you. This is the part where I need you to really pause and sit with this. Because this is something very few people talk about when it comes to cats, but science has confirmed it clearly. Cats get lonely. Not the way dogs get lonely, loud, anxious, destructive. Cats get lonely in a much quieter, much deeper way. When you leave for work, the house goes silent, and your cat, the creature everyone calls independent, feels your absence in a way that recent studies describe as similar to homesickness in children. They don't cry out, they don't call you, they just wait. And when that door finally opens, that waiting ends. The moment you see your cat sitting there at the door, that's not just a greeting, that's relief. That's the end of loneliness. And out of everything in the entire world, she chose you to wait for. Hash 4. That little chirp has a very specific meaning. Did you hear it? Not a long drawn-out meow, not a hiss, but a tiny sound, short, light, almost bird-like, that cat owners often describe as chirp or prup. That's called a chirp greeting. And British animal behavior researchers have spent years studying exactly that sound. Their conclusion was genuinely surprising. Cats don't make this sound with each other. Not in the wild, not in multi-cat households. This is a sound that domesticated cats developed specifically to communicate with humans. Over thousands of years, cats evolved their own private language to speak to us, and the chirp greeting is one of its most tender phrases. What does it mean? Researchers translate it as "I see you. I'm happy. I want you to know that." Not every cat does this, but if yours does respond, because she is speaking to you in a language she invented, just to talk to you. Hash 5. What they do right after you walk in tells you everything. Pay close attention to this next time you get home. After that first greeting moment, what does your cat do next? If she rubs her head or cheek against your leg in cat language, this is called bunting. It's the act of scent marking through body contact. And this is the most beautiful meaning the word ownership has ever had. You belong to me, and I belong to you. If she immediately rolls over and exposes her belly, that's a sign of absolute trust. The belly is the most physically vulnerable part of a cat's body. Showing it means I don't need to protect myself around you. And if she quietly follows you from room to room, not meowing, not demanding anything, that behaviour is called satellite behaviour by animal behaviourists, it means I just need to be near you. That's enough. 3 behaviours, 3 different ways of saying the exact same thing. You're home. My world is whole again. #6. Why some cats never greet you at the door and what it actually means. I want to address this directly because I know some of you watching right now are thinking, my cat never greets me at the door. Does that mean something is wrong? Let me be honest with you, no. Absolutely not. Cats, like people, have different personalities. Some cats are extroverted, they sprint to the door, meow loudly, rub against your legs before you've even set your bag down. Some cats are introverted, they observe you from a distance, wait for you to come to them and express affection in ways that are far more subtle. If your cat is sound asleep when you get home, but then quietly appears and settles beside you 10 minutes later, that is a greeting. Just in their own time, on their own terms. If she glances at you, blinks slowly once and goes back to sleep, that is a slow blink in cat language. It's the equivalent of saying I love you just without the noise. Don't measure your cat's love by a dog's standards, or by human ones. Every cat has their own emotional language. Your job is to learn it, not to make them speak yours. #7. What happens in your cat's brain the moment they hear your voice? When you open the front door and call out, "Hey, I'm home." What is actually happening inside your cat's brain? Studies using behavioural analysis and heart rate monitoring in cats have found something fascinating. Cats recognise and distinguish their owner's voice from a stranger's, even while they're asleep. Their heart rate shifts, the muscles in their ears respond, their brain on some level wakes up. But here's the part most people don't expect. They often show no outward reaction at all, even as their brain fully registers that you're there. Scientists call this concealed recognition. Your cat knows you're home. She's already processed that information, but she chooses when and how to respond. That isn't coldness, that is agency. Your cat is not driven purely by instinct. She decides when she comes to you, and when she does choose to come, that means something far more than any reaction that couldn't be helped. #8. Their memory of you goes deeper than you know. There's a question a lot of cat owners are afraid to ask out loud. If I went away for a long time, would my cat even remember me? The answer, based on what science currently understands, is yes. In a way you've probably never considered. Cats don't have narrative memory the way humans do. They don't replay stories in their mind like a film reel. But they possess something arguably more powerful emotional and sensory memory. They remember your scent, the rhythm of your footsteps, the specific tone of your voice, the weight and warmth of your hands. There are documented cases of cats recognizing their owners after years of separation, purely through scent or voice, even when the owner's appearance had changed significantly. And every single time you come home, your cat is doing something quietly profound. She's confirming that you're still here, that the person she chose hasn't disappeared. #9. What happens when you walk past them without stopping? I want to be straightforward about this one. Some days you come home completely drained. You see the cat murmur hey without really looking and head straight to the couch or the bedroom. That happens to everyone. No judgment here. But here's what you should know. When you consistently skip that greeting moment over time, your cat will stop greeting you at the door. Not out of anger, not out of spite. Because they are learning. They're learning that the behaviour doesn't create connection, so gradually they stop doing it. And here's the heartbreaking part: when a cat stops greeting their owner, most people think my cat is just getting more distant. But the truth is, you inadvertently taught them that reaching out wasn't welcome. The good news is this is completely reversible. All it takes is 30 seconds. When you get home, put your phone down, sit on the floor, and let your cat come to you. 30 seconds every day. That is genuinely all it needs. #10. What they're really asking you every single day. We've worked through 9 layers of psychology together, but I want to end this section with what I think matters most. Every time your cat sits at that door and waits for you, she isn't only greeting you, she's asking a question, not in words, but as clearly and as genuinely as any child has ever asked a parent, "Are you okay?" Because cats, despite having no words, read human emotions with a precision that continues to surprise researchers. They know when you're sad. They know when you're exhausted. They know when something is off before you've said a single word to anyone. And the way they respond, settling closer to you, purring more softly, or simply resting their head on your leg without asking for anything in return, that is the language of care. From a creature that the world spent centuries insisting didn't care at all. Tonight when you get home, no matter how late it is, no matter how long the day was, no matter how many things are still running through your head, stop at the door, 30 seconds, and really look at your cat. If this video changed something in how you see that moment, leave me a comment. Tell me about your cat, what's their name, how they greet you or how they don't. I read every single one, without exception, and if you know someone who shares their life with a cat, send this to them, because sometimes understanding what your cat is actually saying can change the entire relationship. If you want to keep exploring the hidden psychology of cats with me, the subscribe button is right there. This channel exists to do one thing. We'll help you understand your four-legged companion more deeply than anywhere else. There's something researchers have said that I find myself coming back to again and again. Cats are the only animal on Earth that chose us. They weren't domesticated by force the way so many other species were. They weren't selectively bred into obedience. They came to us roughly 10,000 years ago when humans first began settling down and farming. They chose to stay, then they chose to get closer, and then closer still. Until one day they chose to sit by the door and wait for us to come home. That wasn't instinct, that was a choice. And every single day your cat is making that choice again, choosing you out of everything else available to her in that house. Honor that, because not everyone gets to be chosen in a way that is that simple, that pure, and that completely entirely voluntary. But before you go, I want to ask you something. Has your cat ever stared intensely at a corner of the room, where there is absolutely nothing, or cried out in the middle of the night, then gone completely silent, then cried again like they were answering someone? Behavioral science has an explanation for that, and I promise you it has nothing to do with the supernatural. But it will make you see your cat in a completely different light. Next video coming soon. I'll see you there.